Welcome to the Sunday Update. Nath Gardner with you. Detectives in Victoria have found a car that was stolen by a gunman who shot a former Mongols bikie. Sam Abdulrahim is in a stable condition despite being shot 5 times as he was leaving a cemetery attending his cousin's funeral before his assailant ran a Mazda into oncoming traffic. Superintendent Boris Buick says the offender then hijacked a car after pulling a gun at a mum and her son.
I'm not certain about how many firearms were used in the shooting. The mother and her son were not injured, but obviously it was a terrifying experience.
Gun laws in the United States are set to be tightened for the first time in 30 years. The new rules will toughen background checks for young gun buyers and ban domestic violence offenders from keeping firearms. President Joe Biden says it'll also be easier for authorities to seize weapons from people deemed to be dangerous.
Across the country, so many who lost their souls to an epidemic of gun violence. They lost their child, their husband, their wife. Nothing is going to fill that void in their hearts, but they led the way.
Staying in the US, some abortion clinics across the country are already closing their doors. It's after the Supreme Court removed the constitutional right to the procedure. Briefly, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is on his way to Spain for the NATO Leaders Summit, and Australia's first commercial space launch will take off tomorrow night from the Northern Territory. NASA will be launching the first of 3 rockets for astrophysics studies that can only be done from the Southern Hemisphere. To sport now, and it's brought to you by Ladbrokes Mates Mode, the better way to chat, share and bet together. T's and C's apply, and remember, gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-858-858. What was arguably the game of the year in the AFL between the Tigers and the Cats at the MCG, Geelong ended up 3-point winners, 89-86. Winning coach Brad Scott says his boys held on after a classic Richmond revival who came back from 34 points down.
We knew we had to take the game away from them, and I thought that execution and the preparedness to play that way against a really good defensive team was something that we should be proud of.
And at Wimbledon, first round coming up, Aussie James Duckworth takes on Andy Murray and Isla Tomljanovic up against 18th seed Swiss player Gilles Teichmann. And for even more sports news, make sure you check out the Sports Update. You'll find it wherever you're listening to this show. In entertainment news now, Chris Hemsworth has spoken about bearing his backside in the latest Thor installment, Love and Thunder, telling Variety he did a few squats right before filming.
It was a very large screen, it was a very big pair of cheeks. And I don't know, I've seen them before. Whatever. Yes, whatever indeed. And American model Meadow Walker has shared how she had an abortion in 2020 in light of the US Supreme Court overturning abortion rights. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for another episode of The Update.